So I just got finished seeing the breakup between Marissa and Ramses for Love is Blind, season 7, episode 12. And I know a lot of women can relate to this. First of all, for a lot of us watching, a lot of us thought that Marissa was going to choose the other guy. And then at the reveal, at the meeting of all the other exes at the get together, it looked like there was still a spark between Marissa and the other guy. And they probably would have been better suited for each other. I definitely believe the other guy would have chose her at the end. I believe that she probably would have been happier with him at the end in the long run. I'm trying to understand what conversations that they had that we didn't see, Marissa and Ramses, because I'm trying to understand how he didn't realize a lot of his reservations at that time. And I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I want to believe that he didn't gaslight this woman. I want to believe that he didn't lead this woman on intentionally just to break her heart. But there are some red flags. Red flag number one, this man has been married before. This man has a history of a failed marriage. This man has a history of walking away from what was promised to be forever with someone already. And the other red flag was that he is not ready to have children yet. He is adamant about this. But instead of him using condoms, he wants Marissa to go on birth control. That didn't sit well with me. And I think also it was very telling because it almost makes me believe now that he already knew he was never going to say yes at the end. He already knew he was not planning on marrying this woman, because if you planning on marrying this woman and y'all are having sex unprotected at that, if you love this woman like you claim, and if you want forever like you claim, why should it matter if she gets pregnant? Especially when you're just willy-nilly shooting up the club anyway. Make it make sense, Ramses. And the thing that triggers me so much as a woman is how so many of us women have experienced this. Oh, oh, the tales I could tell you, the stories I could tell you. Um, I'll try to make it brief. Just 3 examples off the top of my head. 3 of the last men that I was involved with. So, the first one, we had a conversation when we first met, and he was telling me how, he wanted to be married like his parents, his mother and father were married, and, he wanted to be married. He wanted to settle down, you know, and he was tired of women treating him like a piece of meat, using him for his body. That should, I should have, that should have rang off bell alarms for me. I think I got too caught up on the portion of him saying he wanted marriage like his mother and father. First of all, what should have occurred to me is, okay, this is a grown man of a certain age. And then what also was a red flag, he had a son. I don't have children. I told myself it's better for me to get with a man who also doesn't have children, so we don't have to worry about the baby mama, baby daddy thing. So that was already a boundary of mine that I crossed. So I'll take the heat for that. But what should have occurred to me is, this is a grown man. If he doesn't want to be treated like a piece of meat, he's going to come that way. He's going to choose a woman that's not going to treat him like a piece of meat. So that was another red flag. Fast forward, I meet another guy. He tells me he wants to be married. He wants to have children. And then we get intimate. Fast forward, he tells me, oh, you know what? I don't think I want to get married. You know what? I think I'm too old to have children. It's triggering because we talked about this. You proclaimed this is what you wanted. It's fine for a person to change their mind, but It's so convenient that you change your mind after I give myself to you. What that makes me feel like is gaslight. What that makes me feel like is you lied. What it seems like to me is you said what you felt you needed to say to get what you wanted in that moment, and that was it. That was all. Fast forward, another guy. Um, Same thing. Even though his culture is okay with polygamy, he wants to be monogamous. He just wants one woman, etc., etc. We have intercourse. Fast forward, turns out he has a roster. Oh, you're so great. You're a phenomenal woman. A man is gonna be lucky to have you. So it turned into, let's work on a relationship to a situationship. Um, and with all three of these situations, what I will say as a woman, what I will say as an individual, I put the blame on myself, because what it opens my eyes to is that us women, sometimes we do too much talking, and sometimes we do too much romanticizing and fantasizing. We don't collect enough data. We don't use enough logic. We don't take enough time. A lot of times, it's a quote, women fall in love with words, men fall in love with actions. If I would have paid attention to the actions that followed these words prior to giving myself, I'm sure that discernment would have told me, oh no, this person is just talking that talk. They're not about that action. This person is just telling me sweet nothings. They don't mean this. This person is just talking out the side of their neck. This isn't sincere. And what was also a red flag with Ramses, and I think a lot of men do this, women do this as well. This is just a public service announcement. When you let other people, because I've personally experienced this, when you let other people in conversations, when you entertain conversations with other people about your significant other, 9 times out of 10, that's a recipe for disaster. And it's ironic because one of the men that I'm speaking of, the one who said he wanted to get married like his parents, the one who said he was tired of being used like a piece of meat, he came to me with something similar. He was telling me people were telling him that I didn't really love him, that I was too good to be true. I was what was the word that was used? I was um uh I was slumming with him. And the irony is, I really love this man. The irony is, I was picturing having his baby boy and his baby girl. I was picturing making his house a home, helping him to build a business. So it's crazy. I really love this man. I prayed for this man. I prayed about this man. I cooked for this man. I baked for this man. I made love to this man. And the fact that he came to me and told me, so one, it let me know he was having conversations with other people about me, about us, but he came to me and told me that basically other people were in his ear convincing him not to be with me. I can't even be mad at those other people. At the time, I was a little bitter, but I can't even be mad at them because you're a grown man. You are an individual. So if you allow outsiders to dictate or to convince you not to be with someone when you were the only one in that situation with that person, then that's on you. This situation with Ramses, I can't help but wonder, these same these same conversations and these same concerns and these same reservations, did he ever have these conversations with Marissa? Because based on her reaction, based on her questioning that we saw, it didn't look like he did. It looked like it came out of nowhere. And it's so heartbreaking because how many of us, I can't speak for men, I'm sure men probably experience the same thing, but I'm a woman, so I'm going to speak from a woman's perspective. How many of us women have felt that? How many of us women have felt everything seemed fine? It was out of nowhere. One minute he's telling me how in love with me he is, the next minute he's breaking my heart. The next minute he's walking away. The next minute he's ghosting me. The next minute he's telling me, one minute he wants to do this, wants to do that. The one guy, he gave me a key to his house. I moved into his house. And the crazy thing is, the same day that I moved in, we got into an argument and he was ready to call it quits. He was ready to call it quits. And that says a lot. It speaks a lot to the lack of time that we give to really know a person. It speaks a lot to how fickle people are today. Because remember, there was a time where your parents, your great grandparents, your grandparents, they got married and they stayed together. They were married for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. You don't see a lot of that these days because we're in hookup culture, because we're on swipe left, swipe right. It's too much access, but I'm not going to blame the access. What it comes down to is people not really knowing themselves and not really having the proper structure and the proper communication within our relationships. Because just the red flags that we know about, just the fact that this man claims he didn't want children, but he was okay shooting up the club. So it begs to wonder. So hypothetically, if after they break up, Marissa turns out to be pregnant, whose fault is that? What is he expecting that result to be? Is he expecting her to get an abortion? Is he expecting her to give the baby up for adoption? These reservations that he had, according to Marissa, 2 days prior to their breakup, they're picking out their wedding song. So the question is, when did this conversation occur? Was the conversation before the wedding song, after the wedding song? So in the span of 2 days, it went from we're picking out a wedding song to I'm not sure about you. That's crazy. In this context, you can say it's understandable. A lot of people say it's understandable because in all actuality, they didn't know each other that long. But at the same time, how many of us women experience this? How many women out here are with men for months and years, and then he just poof, he's gone? So I don't even think time frame has anything to do with it. When you know, you know. How many of us have heard men even proclaim out of their own mouths, I knew she was my wife the day that I met her. I knew she was my wife the first day that I saw her. How many times have we heard men say, when you know, you know? It didn't take me that long. We got married in a week. We got married in 3 months. So it's not always how long you know a person. You can know a person for 10 years, be in a situationship for 10 years, be a boyfriend and a girlfriend for 10 years, and then they leave you. You could be with someone for a week and they want to lock it down because they know that you're their person and they don't ever want to lose you. They don't ever want to let you go. So I just think it's really sad. My heart broke for Marissa because I could see myself in her. So many things that she has said resonated with me as far as the relationship front. When you get with someone, and then especially when you know yourself, when you know you're amazing, when you know what you want, when you know who you are, when you have so much love inside of you to give, when you're so affectionate and you give that to someone and you're always told or you're always made to feel it's too much for me. Your love is too much. It's too good to be true. I don't know if I can handle it. You're great. You're amazing. But it's just not for me. It broke my heart for her. It really did. Seeing her cry. It broke my heart because it wasn't just the tears. It was the emotion. Like what she said, she articulated herself perfectly. She wasn't overly emotional. And she just clearly expressed her thoughts. She clearly expressed her feelings. And I know a lot of people are going to feel it. I know a lot of people are going to relate because so many of us are no strangers to those thoughts, to those experiences, to those feelings. 2 days prior, they were picking out their wedding song. And then he decided after a conversation, allegedly, is when he decided maybe the conversation was an excuse for him for an out. Maybe he just wanted someone else to tell him the things that he was telling himself already. Because at the end of the day, we know that when a person wants to do something, they're going to do it. Doesn't matter what anyone else says. However, We also know that there are some people who allow others' opinions, the thoughts of others, the input of others to determine their lives, to determine their life decisions, their life choices. So I just think it's really unfortunate, but I have faith that Marissa is she's a very beautiful woman. She is very bubbly. She seems very bubbly. So um I have no doubts that she will find someone. I wouldn't even be surprised if she got together with the other guy because he seemed like he's still in love with her. So I'm curious to see what unfolds. This is just I'm reacting to just the first 18 minutes. I haven't even gone beyond. Um, it just broke my heart to see that interaction, and I'm curious to see what unfolds next. This is my reaction for Love is Blind, Season 7, Episode 12, the interaction and the breakup between Marissa and Ramses.